And we're back live at the Mineral Arena here in Richmond for the Cyclone Taylor Cup Day 3. And guys, I got a familiar face for you. Doug Paterson. Doug, first of all, what's your role with the Cyclone Taylor Cup?
Well, part-time, I'm the janitor here, Mark. And no, it's I'm the committee chairman, and I've got a great committee of 5 other people. And, title's not that important. We're all chipping in and getting the job done, so it's been pretty exciting. We're very, very pleased to be able to host it this year in Richmond, and we just got a bunch of real passionate people and friends and hooking up with you and getting to know you more, and a number of other people from Campbell River and Kimberley and so forth. So it's just been a great day 3, and so day 4 tomorrow, but it's just been fantastic.
You know, I forgot my own routine here. I'm supposed to do it this way. Where'd you grow up and play your minor hockey?
Well, I'm a Richmondite, 4th generation Richmond family. And when I started playing prior to 1964, this rink's been here since 1964. So my first year or two, I had to play over in Delta in a hangar at the Boundary Bay Airport. And that was the only ice surface that was, Richmond or Delta. They had the Cares down in the Forum, but that's a little bit too far out. So my first 2 years of hockey were played out in Delta in the old Boundary Bay Airport. And then, of course, when this rink was built in 1964, and then that's when I started my hockey. And then I from 64 to 71, and then I was the very first Sockeye captain, 71, 72. That was an inaugural first year for the Richmond Sockeyes Junior B organization. And in those days, a fellow by the name of Bruce Allison, he was the owner, and Bruce turned out to be the president of the Pacific Coast for amateur hockey. Just a real great gentleman. And so he was the first owner, and I really had a lot of fun working, playing for him our first year. And we struggled a bit being a first-year team, but I'll always remember those lasting relationships with a lot of guys. I still see some of them, and so that goes back, do the math, a lot of years.
You've always, though, been involved with the Richmond Sockeyes, haven't you? Yeah,
pretty well. I mean, like I say, 71, 72, and then I took a couple years off. Then I got back involved with my brother about 74 to about 77, and then I took a little sabbatical, and then I've been back for the last 15 years as part of the ownership. And then, of course, I was talking to you the other day about our alumni program, and this is now our 16th year, so 15 as part of the ownership and 16 with the alumni.
We're going to get back on the subject of the Cyclone Taylor Cup, but I want to talk about something that I don't think Junior B hockey does a great enough job of doing, is marketing the opportunities for young men to go on to college, scholarships. I know that the Richmond Sockeyes yourself have been very involved in that, as have the PJHL and the Campbell River Storm, for that matter, and the BI. So talk about what you guys do.
Yeah, well, it was 16 years ago, Mark, and as a matter of fact, I was working out with this fella that was one of our volunteers, and 16 years ago, the owner of the club was Ken Kirby, and Ken had it for about 8 years, and so we were working out this one day, and we were saying, you know what, geez, it'd be nice to pull an alumni team together, and we could raise a few funds, and maybe look at a scholarship. So we talked to a few guys, and it's not going to work. Well, lo and behold, we had a good first year, and we just grew from there. And I think the first year we gave out $4,000 worth of scholarships. I think year 2 was about $8,000, and for the last 7-8 years, we've averaged anywhere from $16,000 to $18,000, and we're now at over $250,000 in 16 years. So what we want, the message that we give our guys, hey, listen, hockey's great, but education is just as important. And we get it. Some guys are not always good at education, but there's trade schools and that type of thing. If you want to be a fireman or you want to be a whatever, go to a trade school and enroll, and we'll support you on a scholarship.
That's so huge, because a lot of people think about scholarships and they think of university. These leagues are about preparing young men for the next level, whether that's a career in the community, or whether it's university, whatever it might be. I think you guys are to be applauded for including trade schools, any kind of education to better our young people. Well,
like I say, we have our annual alumni game, Mark. It's usually about the 3rd week of January, and we get around 600 or 700 people. We have a beer garden, and like I say, that's our biggest driver for revenue. And, looking back, so what I like is when we sit in the dressing room, and, a lot of us, we haven't seen each other for a lot of years, because, everyone, we got some guys that live down in Seattle, and we got lawyers, doctors, and some guys are still playing pro hockey. But what I really like is when we sit down in the dressing room and we sit down and go around the room, introduce yourself, what were your highlights in hockey, tell us about your junior career of the Sockeyes, what did you do after the Sockeyes, and what are you doing now? And like you say, there's firemen, there's lawyers, there's doctors, there's policemen, and even to become a policeman or a fireman, you got to go to that justice of the peace, and that's $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. So we've got 3 or 4 guys that have gone through that program, right? So and they come back, and I know one guy that's a Vancouver policeman today, and Kyle Nishi. And I think he got a total of about $5,500 from us in his 3 years, and he put that towards becoming a policeman. And it's very gratifying because he's become a very successful VPD today and continues to come out, plays in our program, and still supports us. And I think, like I was saying, Kirk Russell and, of course, and Goldie Hawn, their son played here going back 16 years ago. And as a matter of fact, their son came out last year and played, and his father at one of our banquets going back, and he said, "You know what, Doug?" He said, "Once a Sockeye, always a Sockeye, and I'll always remember that, and I'll always treasure that." And we really talk that and keep it active.
Isn't it funny during an alumni game, it doesn't matter how old each player is, it doesn't matter what profession they are, it seems to break down age and class barriers. You're just hockey players.
Absolutely. And what I say, we still got that competitive energy and drive to win, but I said there's no loser in that game because our common goal is to raise money for the scholarships, but we want to be competitive. And there's no contact for obvious reasons because you got guys 35, 40, and then you got 16-year-olds, right? So, but we want to be able to entertain, have fun, and raise some money, and that's what it's all about. But I tell you, this last year in January, this previous January, we went into double overtime. We had to go to a shootout. And that's exciting. And we really haven't had a blowout. They've always been competitive. The alumni can field a pretty good team, but the thing is, most of the alumni can't skate with these guys, but they still have the smarts to move the puck. And but at the end of the day, it's just a lot of fun, and we treasure the memories, and we see guys that we haven't seen for a long time.
So let's talk about the Cyclone Taylor Cup. Talk about the preparation, which started long before it started, probably a year and a bit ago. Talk about how that came about.
Well, it wasn't quite a year because originally, Mark, it was going to go to Ridge Meadows, and then what happened, Ridge, I guess they had problem getting ice time, and it's something to do with the cross or whatever, so they inadvertently had to cancel. And with them canceling, so that wasn't until right after Labor Day, so we had to move quick. We're either going to keep it in our league or we'd have to give it up to one of the other leagues. So Ray Stonehouse and I said, well, we can't let that happen. We committed as a league. Unfortunately, one of our partners can't do it, but, we got to find. So the city of Richmond's been great. First of all, they're very accommodating. Will Kumps on one of our committee heads, and they were very accommodating and getting the ice time for us. And so we put the dates of the ice number 1, and then we had to work hard to get the hotels, and we went from there. But I was at the banquet the other night. I was saying, it's not always about the on ice; it's the off ice. The volunteers. We got a tremendous amount of volunteers and committee workers. I mean, we got a volunteer that's been with us for 43 years, and we're very proud of that. And at the end of the day, our committee is probably into about 300 hours. I was talking to Wade because you guys are getting ready for next year, and I said, you got to get the right people, you got to get passionate people, and you know what, you go from there, and you got to have fun doing it. You got to get regular meetings going, but have fun doing it. But it is a big commitment, and and you think you got lots of time, but that last 4 or 5 weeks, it comes up quick, and then before you know it, it's here. But the last 3 or 4 weeks, we were starting to get it. And it's just like players. You practice. You want to get in the real game. And, so the banquet sort of set the tone. We had a great banquet. And that sort of set the tone for Thursday. And like I say, we're in day 3 now. The crowds have been good. Beer garden sales have been good. The 50-50 has been good. We're all the proceeds from our 50-50 are going into Humboldt in the for that program to assist all those people. And of course, our 3 leagues they're going to donate $3,000 each. So we're hoping to get close to $15,000 by this time tomorrow afternoon.
Wow, that's incredible. Just going back to the volunteers, you talk about the volunteers. I know yourself. I come in here pretty early, and you've already been here for a long time. I bet you're going to sleep tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's obviously I enjoy it, and they say, well, why are you doing this? I said I'm the type of guy that I sort of set the pace, set the direction, but I'm the type of guy I like to roll up my sleeves and make it happen. So, doing the beer run, getting the food and getting the ice and so forth. But at the end of the day, I enjoy it. And you look back and, it's been great hockey. And, let's just look at this game today. Every and it's probably going to go right down to the wire.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Doug Paterson, chairman of the Cyclone Taylor Cup Committee for 2018.